while we were in post-production on Supersize Me, we got the idea for 30 days. And, we had a test screening for Supersize Me at it was right after we submitted to Sundance, so we hadn't even gotten into the Sundance Film Festival yet. And we had a test screening with an audience, which we had no idea what we were doing. We went out and solicited a test audience ourselves. We made flyers and said, come see this movie. And we went to art house movie theaters in our hometown in New York City where we live. And we said, come see this movie at this time. And we got about 50 people who showed up at that test screening. And we asked them what they thought of the film. And myself and the two editors came down front. And as soon as the film was done, people started arguing in the audience, like, well, that's not what the movie's about at all. And one woman yelled back, well, you're an idiot. What are you talking about? And so I'm just standing there with the editors, and we looked at one another, and I was like, this is great. This is fantastic. Because that's what you want to, you want to have some sort of a raw, visceral reaction from people. And so as we were editing that week, I said it would be great to create a show where we could deal with issues on a weekly basis, that are the same kind of scope as Supersize Me. And so right after we sold Supersize Me, we went out and started meeting with networks for 30 days, and one after one, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, we pitched it to all of them, and each one of them said no. One network executive who we pitched the show to said, well, hold on a second. So who wins this show? And I just kind of stared at him for a second, and I said, you do every week by watching. And he said, Morgan, it was nice to meet you. And that was kind of the end of that meeting. But then we pitched it to FX, and they got it from the beginning. And so we were in production on that, or in production on the pilot of that as soon as when Supersize Me opened in theaters in May, we were already in pre-production on 30 Days. So I hadn't really thought about what my next film was going to be because 30 Days is a monster. Each episode of 30 Days is like producing a small film. It's 20 weeks from start to finish on each episode. And that's not even including the pre-production of trying to come up with the ideas of what we're going to do. But once we find the person who's going to be our participant in the show, I mean, it's 20 weeks, until we deliver the episode to the network. So it's 5 months.
Where did the idea for WWJB come from?
WWJB, the movie.
Where did this movie come from? And tell us a bit about Reverend Billy.
Reverend Billy and the Stop Shopping Gospel Choir.
Where did you guys?
Woo! Represent.
How did this project begin?
It was. It was in the summer of 2004. It was right after Supersize Me opened, and Peter Hutchison, who's one of the producers on the film, who I'd known for a while, ran into me and said, "I'd like to show you some stuff we've been shooting." And he'd been shooting with Reverend Billy for about a year, and they had about 100 hours of stuff. And he showed me some of his footage, told me kind of the film that he was looking to make, and I met Reverend Billy and I said, "Sign me up. I think this is great." Like I'd heard of Reverend Billy for a long time. I lived in the East Village for about 12 years. And he's an East Village staple. He's a legend in New York. And, he is a performance activist who for years has been fighting, consumerism and the corporatization of our country, and has kind of been like this lone voice in the middle of this giant corporate forest. And I loved from the minute I met him that, the key to him is trying to have a sense of humor or try and create this character that has a funny point of view about things. And I just thought it was genius. And so we started to kind of put together an idea for a movie. This is 2.5 years in the making, to get this film shot and made and to raise the money for it.
But you knew you weren't going to direct it.
And that was the thing. I didn't direct the film. I produced the film. Rob Van Alcamada, who directed the movie, made a short about Reverend Billy that won at Sundance last year called "Preacher with an Unknown God." And which was amazing. Like we were in pre-production on shooting because we shot this movie in 2005. Reverend Billy and the Church of Stop Shopping Gospel Choir go on a nationwide mission to save America from the Shapocalypse, and so as we started talking about this film, we decided to make it a Christmas movie because Christmas is representative of how we spend money all year long. It just kind of culminates. This is like the icing on a very big credit card cake, that Christmas represents, and so we decided to turn it into a Christmas film, and this was August that we kind of started going in the Christmas movie direction. Rob's movie got into the film festival in November. We were shooting in December. He went to Sundance in January. It was just this incredible run of events that just, for me, really showed that we were doing the right thing by making this movie.
So what do you see as a connection between Supersize Me, the book, 30 Days, the new movie? There clearly is something, but what do you see as that?
I think for me, I think there's a great way to challenge an audience in a way that is entertaining. I think there's a great way to deal with very serious topics that are important in our society or important in the world without making it taste like medicine, without it feeling like a PBS movie, without feeling like we're in school or we're reading a textbook. And I think that, for me, where there is so much there's so much information that we're getting through the news and the media, and there's also so much information we're not getting. If we can create an environment where putting information out there or putting stories out there that are somewhat fun, but at the same time you walk away, actually learning something, I think is an incredible thing to do.